Start. Yeah, let's start.
Hi everyone, and very warm good afternoon to everyone present here. So this side is Aryan Mishra, and it's such an honor to come here and talk to you all of you. So as all of you know, the heading of this talk is talking about as a young astronomer in a country like India. So what does it takes to become a young astronomer in a country like India? So I will be talking very elaborately about this and how things actually work up and how things in the field of astronomy works and what it takes, what skills are required to become an astronomer. So when I started my journey back, if you see, if I share a presentation with you, all of you, when I started my journey 9 years back. So this all started by while looking up at the sky. So when I say looking up at the sky, so when we look up at the sky, we often see a lot of different things. We see stars, we see sun, we see planets, and multiple other things. So you know when you do all these things and when you start looking up, there is something always known as fascinations which come up to the sky. So when I say fascination, so it always describes. So whenever we are fascinated from something, we always want to see that thing more closely. In the same way, when I was, when I was a little kid, so I used to sleep on my terrace and I always used to look up at the night sky and I always used to wonder, like, what does it takes to become an astronomer? And like, what are the reasons and what are the things that can, take me to. So with this curiosity, I always used to ask my teachers, like, what exactly, right, astronomy is of, and how can I pursue astronomy as a career or something. At that point of time, I always used to ask, like, what lies beyond the solar system, or what lies after the after some planets, or how planets are basically made up, and a lot of things. But apart from that, my teachers always used to tell me one thing, that you will learn this in the next grade.
Vedant, we are live again. I have connected to European server now.
Okay.
Vedant, when you click on live, just let us know. We can resume the live.
It is automatically started. Aryan, you can continue. Please continue.
Okay.
And firstly, from Earth Innovation Mission, I'm really sorry to the audience. We were facing some technical issues, so really sorry for that. And please enjoy this very informative and very interesting talk by Aryan. Aryan, please.
Yeah. So here we go. Start again. I'm extremely sorry for the little error we had our side, and I'll make sure that this is little glitch. Sometimes in the technology, you keep facing it because there are so many people. Since the time has changed, and so many people have been dependent on video calls and all. Systems keeps happening problem. That's cool. That's a part of life. There is something I was telling my teammate just now, that life is long. You can't hit six every time. So it works that way. So coming back to the point when I was describing that how I started looking up at the night sky and how things started working up. I joined my school astronomy club with an enthusiasm of to know what lies actually beyond the solar system, and that's how things started up. The moment I saw the breathtaking visual of Saturn rings, the night sky seemed to have assumed a new meaning in my life. So basically, something fascinates you, like if a bulb fascinates you, you want to know more. In the same way, when Saturn rings, when I saw it, that fascination changed into my passion. But I belong to a very small family and a very a very middle class family, I would say. My father is a newspaper seller. My mother and father never went to school, so they didn't even know what the word astronomy means. For me, it was difficult, challenging, but it was not. I never left enthusiasm, right? So I never had this passion of knowing enthusiasm. So I never left enthusiasm thing, right? So now, if you see this picture, it's a very interesting picture that this is me when I was in class, no, somewhere around class sixth grade, when I was in sixth grade. I don't know why I'm making that face, but still, it's a little, interesting picture which I found just now. And I really wanted to show you because this was my first night sky which I did. We all the way went to Haryana from Delhi. So I studied in Chinmay Vidyalaya Vasant Vihar, which is in Delhi. From there, we went to Tikli village in Bachapur, Sona Road, Haryana. And when we started up, this was me. If you see on the right hand side picture, you will see I'm writing something. So this I used as a so whenever we used to look up at the night sky, so we used to sketch like Galileo Galilei used to do back in 1600s, in 16th century, 16th 17th century. Galileo never had a camera, so whatever he saw, he always made sketches of that, right? And then he used to show the world. This was happening. This is in the same way. Whenever I saw something, I used to make a detailed log book, right? Like a pilots have their own logbook. What do pilots do when they fly and when they land? They have a logbook in which they write all the what they did and what all happened in the flight. So similar, we have astronomy logbooks where we write what I saw, what is the longitude, latitude, and everything. So this is a part of being an astronomer. If you start doing professional astronomy, you will get to know like how things actually uh, works out. So whenever all this started happening in 2012, when I was in class 7th, I always had a dream to buy a telescope, but my parents denied. And uh, I started up. Saving up my pocket money and through skipping meals and everything. So everyone gets pocket money. Like I used to get pocket money. And one of the most important thing is that whenever we go in India is that whenever we go to a relative's house, we always get pocket money, right? In the same way, I also started visiting my relatives very frequently to get some more extra money, and that's a pursue buy a telescope. So after a wait of 15 months, I saved 7,000 and I bought a very small 3-inch telescope from which I could see 5 planets: Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn. And I could see my own moon. It was mesmerizing. So I started sharing this with my club members. So when I saw the enthusiasm, right, it was amazing. So I was hooked up. So when I started telling people, okay, look, I saw this, and people started following that up. Right after that, there was a change in 2014. I discovered a main belt asteroid along with my friend Kirti Vardhan. It was one of the achievements that led to start a professional career in the field of astronomy. I had to prove to my parents that I'm made for it. Basically, this asteroid discovery was a proof to my parents that my parents never wanted me to pursue this because it had no future, right? Because India is still a developing country and we don't have so much of investments in the field of space. But with all this and all this, I did everything on my own, and so my father is a newspaper seller, as I said. So when a newspaper son kid is in newspaper, it's a big deal for him. That day, I proved to my parents that okay, see, I'm made for it. So for you, maybe many of you who are watching right now, I'm sure you want to become a musician, you want to be a writer, you want to be maybe any artist, any kind of artist. Everyone is an artist. So any kind of artist, there will be people around you, maybe in your own house, and maybe your friends who will say you can't do it. So I always say, if you end up listening to someone above your age, or if you end up listening to some priest or some anyone, then your miserable life, then you deserve it. Because see, at the end, nobody is gonna come and help you out. So one of the most important thing is that you need to do everything on your own, right? You need to become self-sufficient. These days we say a word called Atmanirbhar. So you need to become Atmanirbhar. And this is one of the most important things that you need to remember throughout your life. So when I said I started my professional career, it basically happened that I started looking up. I started teaching at a lot of places. So if you see the first picture, this is from SRM University, Chennai, and second picture is from IIT Dhanbad. It's from IIT ISM. It's an Indian School of Mines in Dhanbad, Jharkhand. So I started going to colleges and started, a lot of talks. I nearly taught around 3 to 4 lakh kids around India, gave thousands of talks, so many schools. I covered mostly every state. So I started teaching up people about, oh, look, so, stars fascinates everyone. Everyone, I'm sure. And whoever is watching this, What you need is a passion and why. So if you tell a kid, don't open the fridge, he or she will say, why? That why takes you to places. Why there are stars in the night sky? What lies beyond the solar system? These are the two questions that led me today on this YouTube live. Right. So this is something important that you need to have a curiosity. People will laugh on you. There were so many people used to laugh on me and said that okay, the kid is mad. He's talking some nonsense and everything. You know, I scored nearly 64% in my class 12th, and I scored nearly 59 of 60% in my class 10th. And I sometimes believe that I'm doing better than what my peers are doing, because I never listened to anyone who told me that okay, so see Aryan, you can do this, you can do. I listen to my, doesn't matter if I'm not, you know, maybe not self-sufficient as much as those people are, but actually I'm happy. So when you start doing everything on your own, one of the major lessons that you learn is that you start realizing your mistake, right? So if you say, someone will say, oh, Aryan is an expert in astronomy, right? But what exactly is an expert? An expert is someone who knows what was. An expert is someone who knows what was, and if you ask him or her that what will be, the expert is say, no, no, I'm an expert of what was. How can I tell you what will be? What I want to tell you from this little confusing expert definition is that an expert is someone who learns from failures. An expert can never tell the future, but he can predict the future from looking at the past and taking out all the mistake, and he can predict it. But whether it will be, you know, true or not, that doesn't matter. But an expert becomes with experience. Doesn't matter if you hold a degree. I don't even hold a degree in the field of astronomy, but I still can teach people, but I can still operate a telescope, but I can still do astrophotography. I can do a lot of things. But how do I learn this? I learn on my own. You don't need a degree to learn a skill, right? That's how you do things. And all these opportunity gave me an opportunity of meeting a lot of people. Like for example, I met, if you see the first picture is with astronaut Don Thomas. If you see a right hand side picture, the above one, this is with Rakesh Sharma, our very own cosmonaut Rakesh Sharma, who went to space from India, the first person from India to go to space. And for Sunita Williams, and there is another astronaut, Samuel Durance. It gave me a lot of opportunity to meet multiple astronauts, astronomers, cosmonauts around the world. This is what it takes you to, that you need to have great perseverance and tenacity to make sure that it should take you to places. And then I founded, like most probably 2 years back, I founded an organization known as Spark Astronomy, which aims at creating astronomy labs in schools. So when I say astronomy labs in schools, it basically means that maybe we have physics lab, chemistry labs, and so many labs. So now we have an astronomy labs in schools. So I started up this lab. Right now we are in 7 schools in India. 6 are private school, 1 is government school. So I tied up with the government of in last year in somewhere around uh, October, November. So we wanted to make astronomy labs in more than 500 schools. And we are making 500 schools, astronomy labs in 500 government schools, which is the Navodaya schools. So Spark Astronomy aims at giving a better opportunity to people. For example, I want to tell you about this special kid recently. So his name is Nikhil Jha of Mount Abu Public School. He recently discovered an asteroid. So if you see in this picture, if you see this specs guy, the first one who's exactly looking at me. So if you see the specs guy, oh, interestingly, all there are 3 people in the specs. I'm talking from the right, the first person, this white shirt guy. So this guy discovered an asteroid I think few weeks back. So when he started up his career, he had interest of knowing astronomy, but when he got into astronomy labs and everything, so he started up looking and he started realizing that how astronomy lab can be helpful to him. So he finally discovered an asteroid, and he's just 14 right now, exactly same age when I discovered an asteroid. And he's right now in class 10th, I guess. So, in simple, what I want to tell you is that if you want more Hussein Bolts in the country, then you need to give those tracks to on which Hussein Bolt runs. So if you want more Mahendra Singh Dhoni or more Virat Kohli, then you need to give those pitch, you need to give those equipments, right, on which Mahendra Singh Dhoni or Virat Kohli practices. In the same way, one of the most important thing is to provide opportunity to young people. So when you provide opportunity to young people, you just need to provide the opportunity. So what we did from astronomy lab was to provide opportunity to young people, and people like Nikhil discovered an asteroid. So we just showed a way, and if there is a will, there is a way. It is often said in India, and there is often very common principle which I've noticed with a lot of people is that they think that youth are useless. So I always say that youth are not useless. They're used less, and youth are not careless. They are cared less. So always remember this. So doesn't matter your age or anything. You can do anything from anywhere. There are multiple things which are happening right now in the world. If you see, I will tell you, there are multiple websites, like there is International Astronomical Search Collaboration, then there is uh, then there is Zooniverse, and then there is uh, slew.com. There are multiple websites. You take it as an example that you can do a citizen science. So I am not an astronomer, again I'm saying you. So when I do astronomy, right, so while doing astronomy there are multiple citizen science. What does citizen science means? Citizen science means that I am not pursuing at that thing as a degree, right, but still I'm contributing to the field. Astronomy is one of the oldest sciences we have, and it is one of the fields that indirectly or directly also you can contribute to the field. Still, I have never I don't I'm currently doing BSc in physics from Ashoka University, and I'm still pursuing my sciences. I'm second year student now. I'm doing my physics. Apart from that, when I was in from class 6, I have been making data sets, I have been working with observatories, I have been making all the data, and I've been sending it to the universities. So this is one of the ways as a citizen science I've been contributing to the field. Apart from that, we always need to remember that how actually things work up, and how how there is multiple things that we always need to make sure that how we need to provide opportunity. This is for everyone. I understand that astronomy is one of the fields that doesn't give that much of opportunities, or maybe it's not that much open up in a country like India. But I always say that every little endeavor is made to create this change. So when I say every little endeavor is made to create this change, it basically means that as a citizen science, or as even as an astronomer, or as a layman, you can contribute to the field. For example, I will tell you one example in this. Pluto, everyone knows that Pluto is not a planet, but the discoverer of Pluto, Clyde Tombaugh, was never an astronomer, right? He was a farmer. Imagine a farmer discovered an a planet, the ninth planet. At that point of time, in 1840s, the search for the ninth planet began. There was this guy known as Percival Lowell who started building up telescopes. So he had an assistant, and Tom was never into astronomy, but he was an assistant to an astronomer. He started learning, and he was just looking at Percival Lowell, and he started learning about all the things and everything, and that's how he discovered Pluto. And there are many discoveries. Like I have seen a lot of people. Physics. If you do physics, physics is one of the most important thing. For example, I would give you one example is that, like the pillow on which you sleep and the sole of your shoes, the coffee from which you filter. This is all from astronomy. The reason is that the first coffee filtration machine was used in space, and then the sole of the shoes was there was this technology we used to use in the rocket. That's how the sole of the shoes was made. Apart from that, there are multiple things. Daily life example. For example, everyone must have heard of a supernova explosion. What is a supernova explosion? Supernova explosion is basically one of the ways in which star dies, right? But when a supernova explosion happens, what it comes out? One of the most major things that comes out is some iron, sodium, and a lot of minerals which comes out from supernova explosions, right? So you need to understand one thing, that our planet has a lot of minerals, a lot of salts, and a lot of things. How do they actually came up on the earth? These were all from supernova explosions. In our body we have sodium, iron, and so many things, but this all came from space. So always remember that you're made up of stars. As famous astronomer Carl Sagan always said, that everyone is made up of stars. The reason is that elements in your body and elements in your food, elements everywhere is made up of stars, because all these minerals and everything comes up from the stars. And also, I would tell you one interesting fact. If you So when I say from my home, for like the place where I'm currently sitting, and to the airport is exactly somewhere around 20 minutes. So I describe the distance in 20 minutes, right? So it will take 20 minutes. But how much is a distance? So distance is basically kilometers. So I can there are a lot of units for the distance, but I describe from my home to the airport is 5 kilometers. Let's suppose it's 5 kilometers. So if it is 5 kilometers, in the same way, there are many different stars in the space which have a lot of distance. So in astronomy, we define this distance as a light year, right? A light which travels in a year. If you take out the exact value of the light year, it will come out 9.46 trillion kilometer. So what is a trillion? Trillion is 13 zeros. So 9.46 plus 13 zeros kilometer is 1 light year. And if we take an example, the nearest star to Earth is currently 4.6 light years. So 4.6 into 9.46 plus 13 zeros kilometer is a distance. Now this is 35.51 plus 13 zeros kilometer is the nearest distant star from the Earth. That is Proxima Centauri, right? But if you want to go at the speed of light, it will take us nearly thousands of years to reach to the nearest star, even if we are traveling per second 3 lakh kilometer. Right. Now imagine you are taking so much of if you even if you are traveling with the speed of light, you are still taking thousands of years to reach. In the same way, there are thousands of stars visible in the night sky, which are millions, billions of light years away. Right? If you have seen the first picture of the black hole, which came up, this was 67 million light years away. So 67 million, the word million plus 13 9.46 plus 13 zeros. Now imagine the massive distance, right? The massive distance, if you see, it still takes us so many years to the light for us to reach. But what I'm trying to tell you from all these calculations in a very simple manner, what I want to tell you is that it will, like for example, I will give you one example. Right now, the time is 4:12 p.m. Right? So there is sunlight takes 8.5 minutes from the sun to reach to us. In the same way, the same sunlight takes 4 hours to reach to Pluto, right? And in the same sunlight takes nearly 12 minutes to reach to Jupiter. The same sunlight takes nearly 12 minutes to Mars, right? So all these things. So there's a if even if you're traveling at speed of light, it still takes some time, right? So this means at 4:12 p.m. the sunlight which is coming to me is not of 4:12 p.m. It is nearly some 8.5 minutes back. The actual light of 4:12 p.m. will come after 8.5 minutes. So it will come at 4:20 p.m. Right? In the same way, light coming from a distant star, it is coming from thousands of years. So today the date is nearly 23rd May 2020. The night sky that you will see tonight is not of 23rd May 2020. It's exactly thousands of years back. So the stars that you will see tonight is of thousands of years back. It's not of today. So always remember, when you look up at the sky, you're looking at your own past, not the future, not even the present. But when you look at the moon, you see the present. So if the light from moon takes only 1 second to reach to Earth. So this is something very important to understand. A very famous astrophysicist and physicist Stephen Hawking said that even if you denote your your entire life to the universe in searching of dark matter or dark energy even, right? So always remember, you can't even denote 0.1% of your life to the universe. The universe is so massive to explore that even if you donate your entire lifetime, you can't even find 0.1% part of the universe. You're so much insignificant to the planet. At the end, I will tell you a very interesting thing. What happened 3 years back, I was with Captain Sunita Williams, and there was this media reporter asked Captain Sunita Williams that what does it feels like to be in space. Captain Sunita Williams said that, when I go to space and when I'm looking at Earth, I see there is no boundaries. When I say there is no boundaries, it basically means that the moment I land on Earth, I immediately need a passport to even travel to my country, and I immediately need a lot of informations. I immediately need I immediately need a visa. I immediately need so much of things to even across a country. But when you are in space and you are orbiting, everyone is one piece. We all are one, but we create a society of you are this, I am that, and something like this. So astronomy is one of those field which reflects upon you. So I often say that astronomy is such a field that tells you that how to move forward in life. So if you pursue astronomy even as a career or hobby, it is something that, how you can actually do things and how you can, that's how things up. So apart from that, this was I really wanted to talk about. But journey of a young astronomer is always very dedicated. It is always very passionate. You always need to be passionate to know what is beyond everything. I always say that there is a curiosity which should always come up. I know always come up to ensure that okay, things should work in that way. And apart from that, at the end, I would say one thing is that there are multiple science projects which goes all around. For example, Atal Tinkering Lab is one of the examples in the country which we have. I have been following a lot of innovations from the Atal Tinkering Lab resources, and there is a brilliant. I recently visited one school. I will tell you a very interesting thing about this lab. So I was in Rajasthan. In Rajasthan, there is this small village in Bali, Rajasthan. So this is somewhere near around 180 kilometers from Udaipur. So I visited that school, and it had adult tinkering lab in a very small room, in a very where around 40, 45 people can sit. And people used to cycle from 15, 10 kilometers to come and use the 3D printers and everything. So imagine kids are cycling at 5 degrees Celsius in the morning to come and use a lab from 15-kilometer distance. So, if you remember, I said in the lecture that if you want Hussein Bolts in the country, then you need to give the strap on which Hussein Bolts. And if you want innovation in the country, then you need to provide labs like Atal Tinkering Labs. And if you want more astronomers in the country, then of course you need to provide resources like telescopes, astronomy labs, and so many things. So at the end, I also want to tell you one thing that sometimes people will not support you. Like there was nobody to support me, but I had to show them that, okay, look, I'm passionate and I can do this. So you need that passion, fascination to do something. So at end, I will say your dreams are your wings that helps you to fly, go face the world and reach for the sky. Thank you so much for listening. I think I'm open for the questions.
Thank you so much, Aryan, for sharing such a wonderful story with all of us. I'll take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Ramanan, who all of us know is the Mission Director of Atal Innovation Mission Niti Aayog. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. And I'm sure you got a chance to listen to Aryan's journey. And please do share your thoughts on Aryan's journey and what do you think about astronomy?
Thank you, Ronak, and good afternoon, everybody, and good afternoon to you, Aryan. It was fantastic to hear your own innovation journey, your journey into an area that has gripped your passion. You have followed your dreams, It's very inspiring, of course, to listen. Not only how it was an emotional journey for you as well as for your parents, for your father and your family, but also it is something that all of us should be able to relate to, and we should be able to learn from your own experiences and your own thoughts. And I am greatly appreciative of you sharing it today with a larger audience, and I'm sure there are going to be many, many more interactions. I think two or three things that you mentioned are very important. One is having a dream and having the passion to follow the dream. It is all about having dreams. As the great Abdul Kalam said, dream big and you will achieve great things. Dream small and you will be limited by your own dreams. And your dream has been in the field of astronomy. And astronomy, nothing can be wider and nothing can be broader, and then nothing can be deeper than astronomy. You are looking at the stars in the sky, and you really allow your imagination to fly, but at the same time, you are pursuing a scientific process in the entire pursuit. And that is what dreams should be all about. There should be a scientific process behind achieving your dreams, and there should be scientific study, a lot of study, a lot of effort has to go in your own field and in every field that somebody aspires to do something impactful. I think what is also creditable and everybody can take inspiration from is, even at a very young age, you have not allowed age to limit what you think you can do or what you think you should do. So you have, you're done your own startup at this point in time in the areas of your interest, and that again is something that everybody can take inspiration from. Age is never a barrier in any of our lives. To be able to start something and to do something, no matter how young you are, or for that matter, no matter how old you are. And also,
Correct, sir.
yeah, and it's really wonderful to hear that. And your mention about the Atal Tinkering Labs is so very appropriate. We have today more than 5,000 labs across the country, and they are spread in some of the most remote parts of the country. We have 733 districts, and more than 660 districts have Atal Tinkering Labs. And once you have the chance to work in a lab and to use the tools and you have the technology, the children who use it get inspired. And your own example gave me, reminded me of what I went through when I was studying at IIT. Actually, I had the fortune to study in IIT Bombay. But on one fine day, due to, I just wanted to go and meet a friend, and he was actually a friend who was doing an internship at TIFR, which is the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Bombay. And TIFR, as you know, is in the south of Bombay. It's in the extreme corner of Bombay, and IIT Bombay is on the other end, in south and north of the city. But when I went there, I got a chance, fortunately, to meet Dr. Ramani, who was heading TIFR at that time. And Dr. Ramani, it was a casual meeting because my friend was working with him and we were going to have lunch together. So in the canteen, he met. And then he said, what are you doing? And he said, hey, I want somebody to do some simulation programming on my computers, on computer-assisted instruction. And he took me to his the computer room and he said, why don't you do an internship here during your vacation? And actually, what I was still studying at IIT, so I said fine, and I had access to the latest of computers. At that time, it was a DEC 10 online system back in the 1979. It was that year, and I had the ability to work on an entirely brand new system in an online mode, and so that inspired me to make the journey from Powai to TIFR in Colaba every day. And it's a 1.5 hour journey. Just to be able to go and spend some time in the lab and then work late in the night and then come back to IIT Bombay early in the morning or the same night. And so it is almost a 4 hour journey back and forth. But why I narrate this incident is I totally related to what you said. And that is when you have access to a lab and when you have access to technology, which you are not having access to wherever you are. And I was in IIT Bombay, so it was not that it's a small institute, it's a big institute, but it didn't have access for online access for me for computer programming, or at that time, there was a language called Simula, which I started learning. And that was a stack oriented language. So these are all such a heady time for me that I used to make this journey and never feel the tedium of this journey. That I'm traveling 4 hours up and down every day just so that I can have access to about 4 to 5 hours of the lab. And I think that is, and when the Atal Tinkering Lab was introduced, this particular thing remained in my mind that students, young students who have an aspiration, who have a dream, would be wanting to access it no matter what the time, no matter how. And they who have a dream will pursue it. And we have to give such technology for them, because if you don't enable this, it is impossible for them to be able to realize their dream. And like you said, we need more space labs and we need more astronomy labs in the country. And ISRO is doing some work on that. But thank you so much for sharing your journey, your dreams. I'm sure it will provide the pathway to many who are aspiring, just like you did, and you have reached there. My own question to you was that in India we are having access issues still in many parts of the country. What is and you gave some examples, but what is the message you would give to those who are not able to have an access to the lab, but there are other schools who are having the labs there? So how would you want these schools to help those who don't have the access? And what are your thoughts on that?
Sir, one day I was talking to, I was meeting with Ayuka's current director, Dr. Somek Chaudhary. And I was talking to him, and we decided that why don't we make astronomy libraries in the every district, where students can come and they can, it's a library where you can take the telescope your home, you sign it, you take the telescope and you come and return it in a week. There is something like we can do this kind of things multiple, but every places it can't happen. Like, so this is one of the major challenges that we always face. But the amazing part of these remote places is that they have the most clear dark skies as compared to the city people. So if they get an opportunity of really learning this, it can be more greater value and it adds more enthusiasm, because they can learn much better because they have been growing up with the same thing. I still remember when I was in somewhere around 11 or 12, I could see only nearly 30, 40 nearly 30 constellations from Delhi at that point of time. Today, I can't even see barely, I can only see Venus, and I can't even see Orion the Hunter. So if you see these all things, that how, so when you stop seeing it, your enthusiasm, or because you have to live in a city, and I always grew up, and and suddenly life is so busy that suddenly something is diminishing away from us, we don't even give it a thought. So leave that enthusiasm. But when we talk about to the village kids about, oh, have you seen stars, they get more fascinated, because if you talk today to everyone about any old people, oh, I used to see something like this in the sky, something like that. So because you always grew up with that. So if you provide if we provide better opportunities, to people like them, it can be a more greater value. And about reaching them, there is always a one way, that one of the major, I'm sure there is a lot of, even Adult Tinkering Lab has been doing it. But one of the important aspects is that we need to provide education in a regional language also. Like sometimes people, they don't get what we are trying to speak, but if you speak in the regional languages, it can reach more far better than anything else. Secondly, thirdly, we need to make sure that we have that connect also. So it is not a matter of concern. Okay, we need to provide a telescope to certain kids, but why can't we teach those kids to make a telescope from, maybe from a trash? You just need a tube, and you just need a one lens and one mirror. That's it. That's a telescope. That's a simple telescope. So that's what Johannes Kepler did, improve the optics. That's what Isaac Newton did, improve the optics. So if we, for example, there is a lot of innovation. For example, there is this a paper microscope, like known as foldscope. I'm sure everybody's knows about it. So now it has been given to the kids. Now they are doing the innovation. So in the same way, we just need to provide that spark. If you provide that spark and leave the rest, the game changes.
Excellent, excellent. So I think we'll be very happy to collaborate with you and see how you can make a do-it-yourself telescope, for example. And
Yeah.
we'll introduce it as a do-it-yourself kit within the ATL Innovation Mission. The other thing that you mentioned is about the enabling a library of very basic stuff which people can take and then return back, and in the process their journey starts. I was also wondering whether we can have, how do you use technologies like augmented reality and virtual reality to get, a beautiful idea about space and a lot of concepts that you can learn. So do you have any thoughts on that? And because we'd be delighted to partner with you and even probably with some of the providers of augmented reality, virtual reality tools to be able to stimulate interest in space, astronomy, and so on.
Yeah. So, for example, one of the major aspects of AI, for example, kids are very much fascinated if they see something like a 3D thing. For example, if we create a 3D picture of maybe a Mangalyaan or Chandrayaan, and if we give them maybe in a phone or an app or something, if we make an app and put them, okay, look at Mangalyaan, how does it go on the space, how does it orbits, how does Chandrayaan goes to the moon, and how what does it work. So these are the things which we can do with the AI. But one of the biggest example for everyone, the AI is known as sky maps. You take out your phone, you just put it over the sky, and it tells you where the which pattern of the sky it is. But if we have to improve that, we can do it in another way, that for example, providing, like if I'm in Delhi right now, I maybe show me those stars which are visible in Delhi. If I'm in maybe in Kurg right now, show me those stars which are visible in Kurg. So this is something enhancing. Apart from that, we can also add one feature which I personally thought that it should also tell us that which is the nearest place where the night sky is clear. For example, if I'm in Delhi, it shows me, okay, after 200 kilometers you go, you can see these many stars. So something like this can be improved time to time. So these are the examples with AI we can do. And astronomy has been one of those fields which fascinates everyone. And these are the small things which fascinates the kids.
Yeah, excellent. So we'll be very happy. I think Ronak and our team will be very happy to collaborate with you on some of these ideas and launch them within the adult tinkering labs and even beyond. I do want to personally greatly appreciate your time today and your willingness to share your journey and your dreams, your inspirations, and your suggestions to all the students. It has been inspiring for me personally, even though I'm not as young as them. But still, it's always a fascination to learn from others. And I think youngsters today, all the young students today, have a great opportunity because there are many examples, role models like you, for them to emulate. And and therefore your continued association with Atal Innovation Mission will be of great value to all of them. And I'm sure we can create a special interest group in space and astronomy of very highly interested, passionate, and talented people who want to pursue this even further under, with your association and with your help to all the others. So with that, I turn it back to Ronak. And Ronak, please take it over from here.
Thank you so much, sir. As you have rightly suggested, we are going to collaborate together, and we are pretty excited to share that under the Tinker from Home weekly webinar series, Aryan will be conducting a set of webinar sessions every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. on different concepts of astronomy. From next week, the students will be able to register themselves for these webinar sessions where Aryan can personally interact with them, clear their doubts, and also build their confidence in the field of astronomy. Aryan, would you like to share some of the quick points of these webinar series?
Yeah, of course. So these webinars starts from basics of stargazing. So when I say basics of stargazing, we basically learn about what is a telescope, how to make a telescope, how does a telescope operates in the sky. Then we talk about the origin of the universe. Then we talk about where the humanity, what does it takes to humanity for reach to planet Mars. So these are 7 series of lecture. Every lecture is made for how things should work up, how everything should work up. Like, for example, there is one topic known as getting to space. So when I say getting to space, we discuss about how astronauts go to space, what is a rocket which is used, and when they reach, what they do, what is the mission progress, what it takes to become an astronaut from a very different perspective. A lot of people, they don't know that if you hold even a if you are a pilot, if you are a doctor, if you hold any engineering degree, any sciences degree, you can become an astronaut. So we discuss about astronomy, the future of astronomy, the origin of the galaxies, that how galaxies form, what are the nebulas. And it's basically, it's known as a package of astronomy. We start from Big Bang, and then we end the universe with a big crunch.
Mhm.
Wow, this is extremely exciting as for me as well as one of I'm a mechanical engineer, and it is very exciting for me as well. And I'm pretty sure it is exciting for all the students as well. With that,
I would also recommend, Ronak, that at the end of the webinar series, we can probably launch a challenge or a set of challenges that Aryan can suggest, which will provoke further interest, research, and innovation into the field of astronomy for the young students.
sure, sir, we will do this as well. With that, I would like to thank all of the presenters, Mr. Aryan, Ramanan sir, and Vedant, for this wonderful live session with all of us. I'm pretty sure the students are really excited for the upcoming Tinker from Home webinar series on astronomy module. Students, if you want to register for the Tinker from Home webinar series, we will be sending all of the schools an email on Monday. You can just go to your ATL in charges and just ask them for the registration link and register yourself. Please note that the seats are limited because we are going to have a two-way interaction with Aryan during these webinar series. So once you receive the link, do not just go to the link and register quickly. And with that, I would like to thank all of you and would like Ramanan sir to give his blessings and close the session.
Thank you, Ronak. Thank you, Aryan, for a wonderful session, a very exciting one. And I do look forward to also attending, if not all, some portions of the webinar series that you're going to be conducting. But I would greatly urge every young student to participate, because this is something that, we are not talking about theory. We are talking about someone who is actually interested and passionately following astronomy, space, and all the topics that you talked about, Aryan, are so very exciting. We always wonder how the universe began. What is the universe all about? What are the stars all about? What does it mean to go into another planet? How does it physically? Is it possible at all for somebody to travel across in space? What are the challenges, and I mean, we have all seen movies like Star Trek and so on, but that is something that is a movie, and those movies excite us so much. So in reality, to learn about space, about astronomy, about the stars, about the nebula, it'll be a fantastic journey for everyone to participate. And I also would request everyone that if you have any questions, please send them upfront, so that that will also help Aryan address many of the questions that you have, because many of you, a session like this is limited in time, but a set of questions, when received from everyone, we will consolidate that, and there may be some common question that everybody has, and Ronak can share it with Aryan and make it very, very constructive and more meaningful from both Aryan's point of view as well as from your point of view. So with that, all the very, very best for the series, and thank you, Aryan, for
Yes, thank you.
volunteering to do it. It's a lot of time and effort from your side, but your passion is very evident, and it's only because of that passion, this commitment to this series is possible, and we greatly appreciate it, our Innovation Mission, and I'm sure every student appreciates that, and all the teachers and participants as well.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.